Hi everyone, Megashots here, bringing you another Doctor Who Series 6 Wave 2 action figure review. Today we're going to be taking a look at yet another 11th Doctor variant, and as you can see this is the 11th Doctor with soft effect flesh, head and hands. I got this figure around the start of this year from my local Toys R Us for $9.99. I wasn't too excited about getting this figure at first because I already had the original Ganger 11th Doctor figure from another part of Wave 2, and as you can see there are only a few differences between these two figures, but also at the time I was quite keen on seeing what the soft effect parts were like, so I decided to get it while I had the chance, and I'm quite happy to have it in my collection now because obviously now I know what the soft effect parts are like, and I'll be talking about those later on in the video. Much like the other figures in Wave 2 of the Series 6 figure line, this figure does come with some accessories which include a flesh mask and a flesh sachet. The packaging for this particular Ganger 11th Doctor figure is just like that of the other Ganger 11th Doctor figure really. You've got some information about the flesh on the sides, then the clear plastic bubble showing the figure and its accessories, and the card at the bottom with the 2010 Doctor Who logo and the name of the figure. As you can see, this particular figure isn't actually called the Ganger 11th Doctor, it's just called the 11th Doctor with soft effect flesh, head and hands. And on the back we can see some of the other figures from Wave 2, and then at the bottom you just got the same usual product and company information. Now next to the original Ganger 11th Doctor figure from Wave 2, this figure does look very similar, but there are actually quite a few differences between these two figures. The soft effect version has a slightly larger head sculpt than the original, and also the lower arms on the soft effect version are made from this soft material, whereas the lower arms on this figure, the original one, are made of the standard plastic for Doctor Who action figures. Also obviously the heads are different in terms of what material they're made from. This one's got a very soft bendy head, whereas this one's just got the standard hard plastic head. Same for the hands as well. That's it for this quick comparison, and now we're going to start taking a closer look at the soft effect version of the Ganger 11th Doctor. I think the soft effects material is quite appropriate for a Ganger 11th Doctor figure, seeing as in the Doctor Who story The Rebel Flesh and Almost People, which the Ganger 11th Doctor was in, the gangers of not only the Doctor and also the humans were able to bend quite a few parts of their body into really unusual shapes, and they were able to sort of shapeshift throughout the entire story, and it was really quite freaky, and I think it's quite cool that you can do that with this particular figure with the soft effect material. As you can see, the head is very bendy and very easy to put at all sorts of angles. You can have him doing something creepy like that, just sort of looking down at the camera. You can have him looking up to see what's on the ceiling, to see if, I don't know, if Batman's up there maybe. And you can also have him looking down as well quite nicely. As you can see, the head just pops back into place once you've let it go. But I guess if you're just playing with the figure or posing it, you can just sort of have him looking up for a few seconds. The head does turn quite nicely as well. I know this isn't the articulation part of the video yet, but I just thought it was worth mentioning. It does turn quite nicely. I had a lot of trouble turning the head of the original Ganger 11th Doctor figure because it was made of quite a hard plastic, but yeah, I think it's good that you can turn it quite a bit on this one. It can't quite go all the way around, but you can have it like that, like that human Ganger from the Rebel Flesh did. I've forgotten what her name was, but there was a certain part in that episode where she turned her head like that, and it was like, whoa, that was a pretty cool moment of that story. Probably one of my favourite moments from that particular story of Doctor Who. The lower arms, as I said before, are also made from this soft effect material. To be honest, I would have liked them better if they were just made out of the standard hard plastic, because with this soft effects material you can easily break the joints from the elbows, which help the figure to have this elbow articulation, but if you are careful with it you probably won't break it. The hands are very bendy, as you can see. You can bend the fingers out quite far, and the same for the thumb, so you can have the figure holding quite a few different accessories. It is worth bearing in mind though that the hands are very fragile and they do fall out very easily. Not long after I got this figure out of its packaging, both of the hands fell off. Since I got this figure out of the packaging, I haven't been able to put this hand back into its joint, as you can see, but I am planning on super gluing it back in at some point. When it fell out, this part here, which connects into this hole here, started to change shape, and this has made it quite difficult to get it back in for a while. But as I just said, I will probably super glue it in at some point soon, and that doesn't bother me too much. It's just worth bearing in mind that if you do get this figure, then this may happen, and just try not to lose the hands if they do fall off. You can just glue them back onto the joints, as I said before. But yeah, if you are getting this figure for either yourself or someone else, that's just something that's worth bearing in mind. But as I said earlier in the video, I think the soft effects material is a very good idea for a Ganger 11th Doctor figure. Makes the figure very fun for young fans of the Doctor Who action figure line who may be posing the figures a lot more than people like myself, and it's also quite useful for scene recreations, even though the bendy parts just bend back into place once you've let go of them. To be honest, I would have been happy with this figure if it just had the soft effect head. As I said before, the arms and the hands are very easy to bend, and they could be quite easy to break as well. So just bear that in mind if you are going to get this figure. But I still think this figure is very good, and now we're going to take a quick look at his detail, paintwork and sculpting. So if you got the original Ganger 11th Doctor figure, you're probably quite familiar with the detail and paintwork that this figure has. The head sculpt has a very good likeness of the Ganger 11th Doctor figure, in my opinion at least. I really like the eyes with the little light blue pupils and the bits of red surrounding them, sort of looking like little droplets of blood. You can see the red mouth there, which stands out quite nicely, and you can see his nose just sticking out a little bit there. The hair is very nice. As you can see, it's been painted with quite a dark shade of brown in some places, but it has got this light brown wash over the top to give it quite a nice realistic look. The torso is very nice. You've got the usual 11th Doctor clothing, same as the clothing on the original Wave 2 11th Doctor figure. You've got the tweed jacket, the light blue shirt and the dark blue bow tie. The tweed jacket is excellent as usual. It's got the usual texturing, which you can see and also feel. The two buttons here and also the holes for the buttons. It's also got the elbow pads on the back here, which are quite a dark brown. The buttons by the wrists, and also lots of creases as well, which can also be seen on the light blue shirt along with its buttons and the bow tie at the top here, which looks very nice. You can see a couple of creases just around the middle there. As I said in my original Ganger 11th Doctor figure review, I probably would have liked this figure a little bit better if it had more of a lighter, more pale shirt, but I still quite like the shirt as it is. I love the buttons go down the middle, and I really like those creases as well. As you can see, you can bend the jacket out a little bit because it's made out of quite a soft material, not as soft as the arms or the other bendy parts though. You can't actually see the braces underneath, but they'd probably be somewhere around here inside the jacket, so that doesn't really matter. The trousers are just the same as well. They're painted black, and you can see the belt around the top here. Lots of creases, especially on the back, but the creases are pretty much everywhere. Also got the really nice stitching lines down here as well, which go all the way from his waist all the way down to these really nice brown shoes, which have the detail of the laces, even more creases, and also some little bits of detail at the bottom as well. And as usual, you got the copyright information on the feet, as you can just about see there. Also a peg hole, meaning you can put this figure on a display stand if you like. Unfortunately, the Doctor Who action figures do not come with any display stands, but if you have any other display stands from other figure lines, you can put this figure on there and it should be able to stand on there quite nicely. So in terms of detail, paintwork and sculpting, you're pretty much getting the same as you did with the original Ganger 11th Doctor figure if you got that particular figure. So I think this figure is very good in terms of its detail, paintwork and sculpting. I love the tweed jacket, especially for all the texturing it has, and I love the little creases and other small bits of detail. I think the sculpt for this figure is superb. I don't think it needs any improvements. Okay, articulation. His head can turn from side to side. I don't think it can do a full 360-degree turn because around where the head goes into the joint, it seems quite solid, and I think if you did turn it all the way around, it'd probably snap or probably break, so I wouldn't recommend turning it all the way around. But as I said earlier on in the video, I think you can make him do a 180-degree head turn, so you can have him looking right over his back there, like that human Ganger did in the Almost People, I think. I don't think it was the Robot Flash, I think it was the Almost People now. The arms can also do a full 360-degree turn from the shoulders, and they've also got the recently introduced ball joints, which are now starting to pop up on the Classic Series figures, which I'm quite happy to see. And so you can put this figure into quite a few more poses than some of the previous 11th Doctor figures, and you can have him do some nice regeneration poses as well. The arms can also bend up at the elbows like so, and the hands can also turn 360 degrees, but I really wouldn't recommend doing this because this is something that could also bring the hands out of their joints, but if you want them to turn, you can still do that. He has got waist articulation as well, and he can turn 360 degrees from there thanks to the soft material of the jacket around the bottom. If the jacket was made of a harder plastic, I think that would have probably hindered the articulation a bit, but as you can see, it does turn around very nicely. The legs can also move backwards and forwards at the top. They're quite stiff at the moment on my figure, but that doesn't really matter too much. And it can also bend out from the waist as well, and he can turn his legs 360 degrees from the thighs. He can also bend at the knees, and that's the articulation of this figure. So, overall, I think the 11th Doctor with soft effect flesh head and hands is a nice addition to my Doctor Who action figure collection. If you're a fan of Doctor variants like myself, I would recommend this figure to you. If you got the original Ganger 11th Doctor figure, I wouldn't say I'd highly recommend this figure to you, but if you are quite keen on seeing what the soft effects material is like, then I suggest picking this figure up if you have the chance. I think this figure has great detail, great paintwork, fantastic sculpting as well, especially for the tweed jacket. Articulation is great as well. I love the soft effects material. It's a great idea for a Ganger 11th Doctor figure, and it's a very nice creative thing that we've never seen in the Doctor Who action figure line ever before. I just think the figure could have been a bit better if it had more of a lighter blue shirt, and I think I would have liked the figure more if it just had the soft effect head, because as I said earlier on in the video, the arms and the hands are quite fragile and quite easy to break if you bend them a bit too far, and the hands do fall out a bit as well. And if I was to give this figure a rating out of 10, I'd say I'd quite happily give it a 8.5 out of 10. A very nice figure, but there are some things about this figure which I think stop it from being as good as it could have been. And yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say for the Ganger 11th Doctor. Okay, so here we have the flesh mask. Now, because this particular 11th Doctor figure is already a Ganger, a flesh mask isn't really needed, but it is an okay accessory. It does fit onto the head much better than I thought it would. I thought that with the soft effect material, the flesh mask would not fit on at all for this figure, but it actually fits on very nicely, and it stays on for a very long period of time. I found that with the original Ganger 11th Doctor figure, the flesh mask could not fit on at all, so I think it's nice that it can fit onto this particular variant, even though it's not really needed because this particular Doctor is already a Ganger and the flesh mask is for a Ganger character. If I was to give the accessory a rating out of 5, I'd say I'd give it a 5 out of 5. Nice little accessory. I like how it has quite a good likeness of Matt Smith. You can just about see the facial features like the eyes, the nose and the mouth there, and I like the plastic it's made from as well. It's a nice hard plastic which is obviously quite durable. And yeah, the flesh sachet as well, great accessory for scene recreations from the Rebel Flesh and the Almost People as well. But as I said in my previous reviews of it, I just think it could have been made out of a better material. And if I was to give the flesh sachet a rating out of 5, I'd give that a 4 out of 5 as well. And yeah, that is pretty much it for my review of the Soft Effect 11th Doctor figure. Hopefully you've enjoyed watching this review. I've got loads of reviews on the way now. My next one should be the Iron Man 3 Marvel Legends Iron Patriot figure. I've still got that G.I. Joe Retaliation Roadblock figure review to get done. I'll probably get that done at some point soon because I know I've been meaning to do that review for quite a while now. I've got lots of Avengers figures recently as well. I managed to track down the movie series Hawkeye, the movie series Nick Fury, and some of the Iron Man 3 Assemblers figures, so I'll try and get some reviews of those done at some point as well. Also managed to get 4 of the Sound Effects Daleks. So I've got the Planet of the Daleks one, the Modern 2005 one, the Death to the Daleks one, and the Revelation of the Daleks one, so I'm going to try and review those at some point soon as well. And if you want to share your thoughts on this figure, please feel free to do so in the comment section below. And now this video is going to finish because I only have 3 seconds of memory on my camera. Bye!